I wish I could say I'm surprised. I wish I could say I'm shocked. We all saw this coming. Probably not mid-season, but the Giants have officially cut one of the worst quarterbacks that they've ever had in their franchise history. And I'm telling you, if Eli Manning didn't win those 2 chips, we're not going to make it about Eli because actually Eli got 2 rings. I'm not going to compare him to Daniel Pennies. The worst quarterback ever, bro. But we appreciate you guys for pulling in. Hit the like and subscribe button. The Giants just released Daniel Jones, y'all. No one's surprised. Couple of years after the Giants GM essentially let Saquon Barkley walk to the division rival Eagles, who are exceeding well beyond expectations. The Eagles arguably have the best running back in the league. Mind you, Giants let Saquon Barkley walk, and the running back position is the most affordable position when it comes to salary cap. You know what I mean? You could actually hold on to multiple top-tier running backs if you wanted to. It's just guys, GMs don't like paying running backs. The best player, and I think it was I want to say that if we're in 2024 season, it had to have been with the 2022 season when the Giants went to the playoffs and actually beat the Minnesota Vikings, which was crazy by itself. That was the Saquon Barkley year. That was the Giants' opportunity to give this dude a max deal, to lock him in. He's the best player on that team. He's the whole offense. Giants essentially let him walk. But who did they pay? They paid Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones signed a 4-year, $160 million contract with the New York Giants, including $36 million in signing bonus. $92 million guaranteed and an annual average salary of $40 million in 2024. Jones will earn a base salary of $35 million and a workout of $500,000. Jeez Louise. Also with a cap hit of $47 million and a dead cap value of nearly $70 million for one of the worst quarterbacks I've seen in my life. Daniel Jones is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. And on top of that, the man only carries, where we at? A record of 24-44-1. 22 wins, 44 losses, 1 tie. Can't even remember the tie. Daniel Jones' last game was essentially in London. Giants essentially left him there. And I didn't see this move coming mid-season, but I saw it coming eventually, where Daniel Jones was just on another career low. Just another career low. Daniel Jones is a below-average quarterback. He can't throw the ball past 20 yards. He doesn't make great reads. He constantly regresses. Now, granted, the Giants are not a great organization. We know this. We know they don't know what they're doing. We know it. When we're watching Hard Knocks and the GM is in his office with his son there, and his son is basically telling him, A, re-sign Saquon Barkley. B, hey, Dad, you think you might want to go after JD5? That's his son. I think it's time to get rid of the GM. Although he didn't draft Daniel Jones, you paid that man nearly $100 million to suck. So if Daniel Jones got to go midseason, I don't see why the GM is staying, because evidently he doesn't know football. He's not in tune with football, because anybody with two fully functional eyes could tell that Saquon Barkley was in the entire offense. And they let him walk. So we're about to react to the breaking news that Daniel Jones got released. Where does he go from here? Somewhere far. Get him out of town. Get him out of sight. He's a bum. No questions asked. Nothing to debate. He's forgettable. He won't be missed. He's an accident waiting to happen. The dude's trash, bro. Now, can he play? He can play a little bit. I want to see him holding a clipboard for at least 3 years. I don't want to see Daniel Jones until he's 35. Okay? And he's coming in off of injury. We don't want to see him get re-signed to anywhere relevant. But we're about to get into the fact that the Giants just let him go for nothing.
We've got breaking news from the NFL.
Trash.
The New York Giants are releasing quarterback Daniel Jones. It closes the book on 6 seasons with Jones as the quarterback for Big Blue. He went 24-45-1 as the starter in New York, with 1 playoff win in the wild card round in Brian Daboll's first season.
Son, 3-13 in the past 2 seasons is crazy.
His record as the starter was just 3-13 over the past 2 seasons. Jones was drafted 6th overall out of Duke in 2019 and signed a 4-year, $160 million extension with the club in 2023. Let's welcome in lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones for more on this. JJ, first, your reaction to this news that the Giants are releasing Daniel Jones.
Not overwhelmingly surprising here, Jeremy, because yesterday we heard from Daniel Jones. He had those prepared remarks. We knew
something was up.
back to a couple of days ago when he was benched, when they went with Tommy DeVito and Drew Lock as the backup, that he was going to be inactive for the remainder of the season, that he was not going to play another snap for the Giants. Then we heard from Daniel Jones on Thursday where he acknowledged that. He also acknowledged and admitted that it has been difficult for him this week, but ultimately that he did not win enough games and wished everyone well. And so the question then was, what are the Giants going to do with Daniel Jones moving forward? Are they going to say, hey, you can stay with us if you want to? Are they going to say, hey, you can go home? Or are they ultimately going to release him? And so the Giants, they could have held on to Daniel Jones, have him stick around or not, and then gotten into the offseason and said, hey, maybe we can try to trade you because you are a healthy quarterback. You are an asset. There isn't going to be a strong free agent quarterback class. Maybe teams don't like the draftable quarterbacks. So maybe we could try to trade you and then ultimately release you before the start of free agency in mid-March. But because of what the relationship that owner John Mara has with Daniel Jones, because of how classy, frankly, he has conducted himself, how well he has comported himself there, the Giants felt that it was the right thing to do, the humane thing to do, if you will, to go ahead and release him. And so that is what we are seeing today. Obviously, he is subject to waivers at this point after the trade deadline. He's going to pass through waivers. No one is going to claim Daniel Jones. And then he's going to have his pick of where he wants to end up.
So I guess the next question is where do the Giants go from here? I mean, obviously, we know what the quarterback situation is.
Listen, the Giants are tanking. There's nothing to ask. This season is done. They've already announced that DeVito, They've already announced that DeVito is going to be starting over Drew Lock. Drew Lock was under the assumption that he was the number 2 quarterback on the roster. And now that they benched Daniel Jones, all of a sudden DeVito skips Drew Lock. And my only assumption would be, the Giants aren't trying to win any more games. The Giants do not care about this season. They're willing to punt this season if they're willing to put in DeVito in to stink it up. DeVito's probably one of the worst quarterbacks behind Daniel Jones. I don't know if you guys seen DeVito play. This guy looks like he just learned about the sport of football a week ago. It's about to be some nasty work. Now, granted, the stats would tell you that he could throw a better deep ball than Daniel Jones. This kid is trash, too. So the mere fact that they're willing to skip Drew Lock and put in DeVito lets you know that the Giants aren't interested in winning games. They're absolutely 100% going after a quarterback. Why would you put Drew Lock in and increase your chances of winning games? Why? Drew Lock essentially bamboozled. He signed to the Giants thinking he'd have the backup role. Shit happens, bro. You got paid. It's the old okie doke. Know what I mean? In case Daniel Jones goes down, hey, there's a possibility you might come in and be the Giants starting quarterback. There's a lot of fame, a lot of clout, a lot of great opportunities. You got neighbors in there. That's it. So they gave him the old okie doke. He's thinking he's going to be a backup quarterback until shit hits the fan. They realized that, Daniel Jones is worse than we thought. This season's over. There's a great quarterback class coming in the following season. Listen, we're going to put in DeVito, Drew Lock. It is what it is. We got you. Got him.
Moving forward, Tommy DeVito and Drew Lock, but looking a little bit further down the road, obviously this puts him in a spot to draft a quarterback.
It does. And again, we can talk about the free agent quarterback market. It's not going to be very strong, right? We are anticipating Justin Fields will be out there, potentially a Sam Darnold. Is he going to go back to New York? Those are a couple of options. Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. But this is not the sort of quarterback carousel offseason that we have seen in previous years. At least that's not what we are anticipating. And so then you go to the draft. And are the Giants going to be in a position to draft maybe a Cam Ward or a Shedeur Sanders? And I'll talk quickly about Shedeur. This is a player that the Giants have paid very, very close attention to. I think it was last month that they sent 3 scouts out there to Colorado. Of course, there's plenty of players to check out at Colorado, but they did, of course, have an eye on Shedeur. And so,
time out. They got Travis Hunter as the number 1 draft pick? Oh, wow. Shedeur's number 2, Cam Ward. I know a couple of these kids. I know the top 3. Will Johnson, cornerback on Michigan. From the game, I know him. Okay. All right. Okay.
You're going to hear plenty about that as the weeks and months go along? Will they be in a position? Remember, the Giants were very, very interested in drafting a quarterback this past offseason, this past April. They wanted to get up to number 2 and draft Jaden Daniels. They couldn't with the Washington Commanders. They wanted to get up to number 3 with the Patriots and draft Drake May. They couldn't. And so they stayed pat and drafted Malik Nabers, and all of that, of course, played out on HBO on that Hard Knocks series. And so this is their where they stand right now. But they do get a jump on things by going ahead and parting ways with Daniel Jones.
You mentioned the Hard Knocks situation. Obviously,
What
the
jump?
Barkley thing was something that put a lot of pressure on. A lot of fans saw that. And then Barkley, of course, had that breakout first part of the season with the Eagles. Now you get the Daniel Jones situation. So when you look at it now in terms of a big picture scenario with the Giants, what does this move say or mean for head coach Brian Daboll and general manager Joe Schoen?
So everything that I've heard, Jeremy, and you put it very diplomatically and very politely, and I think the question that a lot of folks who are watching this want to know, are the jobs of Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll in danger? We have heard from owner John Mara, who has said he does not anticipate and will not make any in-season change and does not expect to make a change in the offseason. All of that has been echoed to me. It was clear a month ago when John Mara said that the Daniel Jones experiment had failed. It was clear that the contract ultimately was a mistake. Plenty of people could argue that it was a mistake at the time, but certainly with the benefit of hindsight, it is. I believe.
Who didn't know this shit was a mistake when y'all re-signed them, bro? Like, this is why I said they're just not in tune with football, bro. And we're seeing it time and time again, and the league is backwards. It really is. The fact that we're still overpaying bum quarterbacks over star running backs. We got the star running backs fighting tooth and nail for $1 on a paycheck, and we're just overpaying mediocrity. There's so many quarterbacks in the league that are straight up butt cheeks. I'm talking about Tyson butt cheeks on Netflix, just ass, getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars to suck. And it's not until the money's fully guaranteed or you guys have 3 wins on a regular season that you realize, hey, maybe this was a bad idea. Maybe this is not going to age well. And we're starting to see it more and more. Have you seen Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence on the Jaguars is the highest paid quarterback in the league. Now, granted, maybe you could say, hey, the Jaguars don't know what they're doing. Trevor Lawrence is a decent quarterback. The Jags need to fire their coach. You could come up with all these excuses in the world. It is what it is. At the end of the day, when you're paying a dude nearly $200 million and he's the top ranked highest paid, you gotta win. Or you gotta at least make it look competitive. Trevor Lawrence don't make it look competitive at all. Daniel Jones is ass, bro. Ass. We saw that years ago. Years. It took you nearly $200 million to realize that was a bad contract? Fire everybody.
That Joe Schoen is safe. I believe right now that Brian Daboll is safe. Any of that can change. And so we should house that on November 22nd and understand that is where we stand right now. We'll see how the Giants with Tommy DeVito, if he does actually provide that spark. We'll see if they have to go to Drew Lock. But as it stands,
they're not
for the Giants, and I think we'll see what's next for Daniel Jones. But for the Giants, it does seem as though they will be able to retain their jobs this offseason and work toward the next era of Giants football.
Okay, so JJ, you said it. Let's talk about Daniel Jones. Next steps for him. You said he's not going to be claimed, so he's obviously going to be done for this season. But what does the future look like for him in the National Football League?
So, and just a quick note on that. So all veterans are subject to waivers because of his contract, and the quick math, he's due still around, I don't know, like $10 million. Teams don't have that sort of money in cap space in order to bring that player on, and so he's not going to be claimed on waivers. That then means that he would then be a free agent. So a team can claim him this season, and I do believe that a team will claim him this season on the veteran minimum. And so now it's a matter of where, or excuse me, we'll not claim him, but we'll sign him. And now it's a matter of where he wants to go. And you first start with systems with which he is familiar. And so immediately, I think about Buffalo. I think about the Buffalo Bills, who have Josh Allen, an MVP candidate, whose backup is Mitch Trubisky. I think that a number of folks would say that Daniel Jones is probably a better backup than Mitchell Trubisky. You can continue to look around. There's currently a situation in San Francisco right now where Brock Purdy just got an MRI on his shoulder. We don't know if he's going to play this week. Would the Niners want to sign Daniel Jones? You can continue to look around with potentially a Miami. You can look at a Las Vegas. There are a couple of places that would happily take Daniel Jones right now on the veteran minimum. I'm not saying he is their starter in 2025. I'm talking about either a backup on a playoff team right now for insurance or a struggling team where he can immediately be better than the current starter. Any of those things can happen, but I think number one, the place that you should look are the Buffalo Bills. Again, Daniel Jones has a say in this. He's going to clear waivers, and he's going to be able to determine where he wants to go for the remainder of the season and the postseason. I find it hard to believe if he has an offer from, let's say, the Buffalo Bills to be the backup or the Las Vegas Raiders to compete with Gardner Minshew and ultimately be the starter in December. I think he's going to pick the Bills. So we will see what winds up happening over these next couple days, but Daniel Jones will be a free agent, and he will have his choice here in the next coming days.
Great breakdown, as always, from our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones, reacting to the news that the Giants are releasing quarterback Daniel Jones. Thanks for helping on with us, JJ. Always.
I'll say this. I could see him being a decent backup. Now, Daniel Jones ain't completely useless, but his career as a Giants is probably one of the most pathetic careers I've seen in my life. But backing up Josh Allen, backing up a Tua, backing up some of the quarterbacks that he might be familiar in the system probably wouldn't hurt his value, at least for the rest of the season, bro. As a backup, he's better than a lot of bums in the league. As a starter, I don't want to hear it, bro. I don't want to hear it. And again, to be fair, Giants O-line has sucked. I don't think the Giants did a great job of necessarily drafting, but just overpaying Daniel Jones when he's just been mid his whole career, and if you ask me, I don't know. 87 touchdowns, 73 picks. It's not the most impressive thing, but this is my views and my reactions to the Giants releasing Daniel Jones. Good riddance, my man. Good riddance. You made $100 million in a year and a half and got cut mid-season. I'm gonna holler at you guys. Hit the like and subscribe button for more comments and reactions. I'm your man, Gabos. I just couldn't stand this man in a Giant uniform, bro. I'm gone.